Welcome to the Word Home Media presentation of Major League A-Holes. I am Pete, a.k.a. Shoeless Pete.
Shoeless Pete Vanieri. I'm Ryan. You're in the hole with Major League A-Holes, episode 166. Maybe the weirdest episode we've ever done. We're going to break any unwritten rule that we've self-imposed over the years. We're going to break them all tonight. All of them. We're going to talk religion. We're going to talk politics. We're going to talk Hall of Fame. All three things that have been banished from the show from the get-go, almost.
Almost get-go.
Yeah. We're going to talk about all of them because those are the biggest stories in sports, some of the biggest stories in the world going on right now, and we have to do it. So this could be a Sox type thing, standalone episode. There's so much shit going on with the White Sox, but that somehow precludes the best team in baseball, my Detroit Tigers. They're going to have to take a back seat to everything going on elsewhere.
Right. Damn right they do.
We will get there eventually.
Maybe.
Cubs played the Giants, lost that series, which we'll mention briefly.
Woo-woo!
Last week, a few things going on with the Cubs we'll cover. And we've got the Cubs-Sox weekend coming up. Actually, the 20th. Today's the 15th. We're not far from the 19th anniversary of the A.J. Pierzynski, Michael Barrett.
Yes.
Home plate fracas. So, happy anniversary.
We're halfway through May as of today.
That's crazy.
Halfway through May.
Well, I think with that, we might as well go ahead and jump into the news.
Well, I think the big news is...
You met the Pope. I saw the pictures.
Not only is the Pope a White Sox fan, he immediately was at the park and happened to be there on Saturday night when I was there.
Yeah, you met him. I saw the pictures. It was impressive. How is the Pontiff?
The Pontiff was feeling good. You know,
is that the word?
Yeah, that's what funny thing he said. I went up to the Pope and said, "Pontiff, may I get a picture with you?" He's like, "Get on in here."
Was that the only man dressed as the Pope in the crowd that night?
He was with another Pope. So there were two popes.
The Pope and the anti-Pope?
Well, I think it was the Pope. I think it was the ghost of Francis who was with him. So I don't know.
That's
Maybe
confusing.
The ghost of Pope John Paul. I don't know.
I am not Catholic. I am not religious. I grew up Protestant and rejected that a long time ago. But so I don't know a whole lot about the Pope or how that all works, but I do know from all the news stories is the world has never had an American Pope.
Yes, that is true.
Beyond that, the world has never had a Pope from the South Side named Bob.
South Side!
There have been so many jokes, at least on Chicago Sports Talk Radio, about the Pope being from the South Side of Chicago. Even the Onion got involved. They said the world gets the first Chicago style Pope. And showed him in a hot dog costume with the sport peppers and poppy seed bun and whatever the Chicago style dog has. I thought that was funny. Did you hear any other funny Pope jokes? Probably not. They're all kind of played.
Yeah, no, nothing that you haven't mentioned really. I mean, there's a little controversy here on Chicago News that he was maybe a Cubs fan at first.
That was the initial report from ABC News. I don't know if it was ABC Chicago. I know ABC was involved. They reported, just made it up, I guess, that he was a Cubs fan, which was erroneous, I guess, completely. The Cubs posted on social media. They had it on the marquee out front. He's a Cubs fan.
That's the big Cubs marketing machine. They can make anything into reality.
So do you think the Cubs just made that up and then ABC ran with it, or did ABC somehow just get the news wrong and then the Cubs ran with it?
I'm going to go vice versa, but maybe not. Maybe they said, "Oh, well, ABC reported it. He must be a Cubs fan." We don't know. Well, I don't know. Either way, it's all silly.
It's all confirmed. I mean, there's pictures of him in White Sox gear
at the World Series
in 2005. He's with his crazy buddies, apparently.
I was at the game with him. So weird.
Oh,
well,
wow.
Not with him, but I was at the same game.
You're hanging out with the Pope again.
I'm always with the Pope.
Little did you know. So yeah, you were, 6 degrees of separation. You're right there with the Pope. Hilarious. I don't know much. His name, I mean, it's Bob. It's Robert something. I don't even know. It's Leo the 14th.
Oh yeah, we're not going to. We're
talking religion tonight. We're breaking all the rules. You can talk anything you want.
I don't want to.
Okay.
Like the whole thing. I found the whole thing ridiculous because much like you rejecting whatever you said you rejected, whatever Protestant
Baptist
religion. When I got older, I've since rejected the Catholic Church also.
You grew up in the Catholic Church. Yeah, yes, of course. You're Italian-Irish from the south side of Chicago. So yeah.
Yeah, so I'm a Notre Dame fan. I didn't have a choice. I never had a choice. And, I'm okay with it. But anyway, so
God made you a domer.
So his brother came on the news furiously, who lives here in the south side, and was like, he is not a Cubs fan. Okay. He is a Sox fan. I don't know where these reports came from.
Okay.
It was so fucking hilarious. I was like, this is getting covered as news on a news program.
Yeah, this is not just Chicago Sports Talk Radio. It's not the Score versus ESPN 1000 trying to figure things out.
This is on every morning news program here. And World, yes. Anyone who wanted to carry it had to let everyone know. We have to. ABC.
The world needed to know.
Yeah, ABC. We made a mistake. The Pope is a White Sox fan. I mean,
well, it's just another sad example of bad journalism that I'd love to point out as being journalism majors in college. Like, come on, guys. How can we get this wrong? The weird thing is the Cubs never took any of that shit down. They kept it on social media. I mean, they came off the marquee eventually, but so I don't know. It's just weird. Claiming the Pope.
Yeah. The Sox got the Pope. They've been playing better since that's been announced.
You're like 4-2.
Yeah. So the Pontiff. Apparently,
congrats.
God likes the White Sox finally. Maybe ESPN will now remember that they won this World Series in 2000. Maybe all these miracle type events will start to occur that have been erased from baseball history by other media.
The shortstop goes blind.
I swear that ball went right through his glove.
Oh boy.
Angels in the outfield. Anyway,
this is taking a turn. This is why we don't talk religion.
I do find it funny that we're talking about the Pope on episode 166, which is our 2/3 to Satan episode, or 2/3 to Satan episode.
So how the math works?
Yeah, yes, 166. Right. So in 500 episodes, folks, it's full on Satanism here.
Yeah, maybe there'll be another Pope.
Pope Slayer the Third. All right. Anyway, let's move on. So
you were at the ballpark.
I was at the ballpark, and they lost again. This is funny, Smitty. Think about this. I am 0-2 this year. Yet somehow last year I was 2-0 at this point, and they had won less games.
A much worse team.
Yeah. It's so crazy. At one point, I couldn't find the exact podcast. I was like jumping around. I think at one point I was 4-0 somehow with that team last year, and I had racked up I had seen 75% of their victories, and I was talking about the White Sox giving me lifetime season tickets because I was a good luck charm. Well, apparently that's been reversed.
Yeah, you spoke of it too much.
Yes.
Spoke it out of existence.
I tried to speak it into existence. But for those of you regulars, you may remember I was going to the White Sox game, and I was going to meet up with my new friend, Len Casper.
Oh, yeah, you met at the White Sox Gala, the Beyond the Diamond, was that 2 weeks ago?
Yes. And
amazing.
Len gave me his digits. I got Len's digits, and he said, when you're at the game, hit me up. I'll bring you and Robin up to the booth, and you can meet everyone and, what else? I didn't know what was going to come of it after that. So, we had joked. I had said, I'm going to probably get a text back, lose this number, creep or something like that. So I texted Lynn Casper and Robin was like, you actually did it, huh? I'm like, yeah. Cause she was sort of like, I don't know. Should you do it? I'm like, yeah, I'm going to do it. Why not? What's the worst thing that could happen? He says, oh yeah, no.
You get ghosted?
Yeah, whatever. I did not get ghosted. However, I did not make it up to the radio booth that night. Len was feeling under the weather. He had lost his voice. And he actually replied back to me that he had lost his voice. Very sorry.
You sent me a screenshot of your conversation. I was impressed. Although that could easily be faked. So I think you could have put somebody in your you could have put Robin in your text chain and just named her Len Casper, which would be kind of weird.
But you can do the hard nose check-in, and he was not on the air that night. So.
Okay. Well, I think that's unfortunate.
Connor McKnight was so.
Who wants to hang out with that guy?
I don't have his number.
Yeah. That's unfortunate. It's unbelievable that he's like, how many games has Len Casper ever missed? And it happens to be the one night where you have a connection, texted him, and he would have let you in the booth at some point.
So
were you texting him way before the game, or is this during the game, or what?
No. Yeah, I texted him before the game. I didn't want to text him in the middle of the game.
Yeah, I was wondering how does that protocol work? I would think
maybe
an hour before the game he might be able to accommodate you.
Right, and that's about when I text him because we had got there early because they were giving away that varsity sweater. Which
I heard about that.
It's 100 degrees. Yeah, it's 100 degrees here today. There's no way I was going to put it on.
Yeah, it's hot.
It is hot and humid.
Do you like it? It seemed kind of strange.
It's kind of nice.
Okay.
I think I have that hat, so I can be all outfitted for.
Yeah, this winter you'll be all set.
College. But anyway, yeah. So game was fun. There was a big crowd out there because of that varsity sweater. I guess I don't know. Maybe just because people can actually watch this team. They lost, as I pointed out, kind of a little bit of a lackluster offensive performance that night. But I did try something new. It was too cold for me to even attempt to do any sort of a food review, but I tried this hot dog wrapped in bacon with pico de gallo and black beans on it. And
that sounds good.
Fucking delicious.
Is that a regular concession stand or a specialty card, or where was that?
It was at one of the normal hot dog stands, but this one just had specialty sausages at it. So it had that one. It had that heater at it. The one I had last year with the coleslaw.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, that's a good one.
It's weird.
So yeah, that's pretty fucking good. And then I of course met the Pope. And I was not a.
Was the Pope drunk? Can you confirm or disconfirm?
I can confirm the Pope was not sober.
All right, I like that.
Obviously turned a lot of water into beer. And he was feeling good, taking pictures with everybody. Everyone got a picture with the Pope. It was almost like Southpaw was on the concourse.
I wonder if
adults were flooding to him.
I wonder if that's going to continue all year, wouldn't it? There's no reason to not wear a Pope costume to the White Sox game from now on.
Would expect to see one this weekend.
Well,
at the Cubs Sox series.
Both teams are battling. All right, will there be Cubs fans dressed as the Pope? I haven't seen that yet. But
you think there'll be a Cub Pope versus a Sox Pope fight?
Yeah, right at home plate.
But yeah, going back to the Pope for a second, I did forget one thing about the Pope. It was Greenberg's article in The Athletic. Who decided to take a funny approach to all this ridiculousness about the Pope, because he got a hold of the Pope. And when you read the first few paragraphs of the article, you're not sure. You think he's talking about the actual Pope, and he talked to the Pope. But it turned out he was talking to 80s White Sox pitcher Don the Pope Paul, who was nicknamed by Hawk the Pope because his name sounded like John Paul.
Okay, that's that simple. Okay,
yeah, it was that simple.
Great.
So he actually decided to interview him and get all his hot takes.
John Greenberg is an excellent journalist, connected throughout Chicago for decades now. I could see somehow maybe he'd have a direct line to the new Pope, but so he could have thrown many people off. But yeah, I texted you when the news was breaking, and you're like something about the White Sox and the Pope, and you're like, Don Paul?
Yeah.
I had no idea what the fuck you were talking about. Okay.
So if you get a chance, folks, if you've got an Athletic membership, definitely check out that article. It's very funny.
Was he any good? Was it the late?
Yeah, he was
early 80s.
It was the late 80s, early
80s.
Yeah, he was actually decent. He wasn't great. He's not like he's going to be in the Hall of Fame or anything.
No.
But before we get into the Hall of Fame, let's talk about the White Sox as a fucking team. They are 7. We're at the midpoint of May. They've had one day off. They are 7-7. They are 77% at the mid-month of May to their total wins in May last year.
Yeah.
They got to win 2 more fucking games, and they've matched their win totals, which they are going to do.
We're only looking to get to 43 wins to be better than last year. So is it even that? So you're well on your way.
Yeah, they won the Marlins series, which everyone should win the Marlins series.
We'll get to that.
And then they went into Cincinnati and took the first 2 games. Their starters held the Reds in those first 2 games to a total of 3 runs. They won in extra innings, which was impossible last year. They are hitting the ball. This is, Smitty, I hope you're sitting down for this one. They're hitting the ball to the right side to move runners over.
Whoa, what?
Yes.
What in the world?
I know. They are somehow tactically sound. I don't know how a manager could possibly do that with the players. It's so bizarre. But somehow, not since Ozzie Guillen has any manager been able to fucking do that with the White Sox. I mean, they're solid in the field. They've got 3 above average pitchers, 1 average and 1 terrible pitcher who went today. In the game they lost, they got killed by the Reds today to won the series, but only took 2 out of 3. They got killed 7-1 today. I've got to say, like, this is what Will Venable has done with this team early on. Is he's like fucking Jesus of managers right now, as far as I'm concerned. Because,
oh my goodness,
yeah. Well, we got to you started this,
beating this into the ground.
Like, this has just been like, he's getting production out of Miguel Vargas, who the Dodgers were unable to get production out of. And a lot of that has to do with ex-Tiger Marcus Timms, who went ahead and said, you need to change your bat grip. And like, since he changed his bat grip on April 20th, his like OPS is like near 800. Like, they are proactively changing things with players and being allowed to, instead of like Grandpa when he was there, just being like, they just got to play through it. They'll be fine. I mean, Lewis Robert leads the league in stolen bases. What the fuck?
Wow.
Even after being out for a few games with a sore knee, like, he came back, stole a couple bases, retook the lead. I mean, I don't know. You can keep the teams fairly healthy. It's weird. I'm just ecstatic. You would think you wouldn't be ecstatic with, I think their winning percentage is like 300 or something.
They're only 15 games below 500. So.
Yes, they're right in this thing.
Sorry.
They're the next team in the AL Central to go on an 11-game win streak.
Yeah. Yeah, they're only 14 and a half games behind the Tigers, but
yeah, you don't get comfortable.
Not at all.
Hey, you let the Tigers know we're gunning for you.
We'll get to the Tigers eventually in this show. I mean, there was so much White Sox shit we had to cover first. So it's unreal.
I think the next biggest news for the White Sox this week is, the biggest news in baseball overall this week is the fact that after hanging out with President Trump, good old, what's the hell's the commissioner's name?
Manfred.
Manfred comes back. And suddenly, Pete Rose is reinstated. Shoeless Joe is reinstated, which it was questionable that he was ever.
He shouldn't have been in the first place.
Shouldn't have been in the first place. So
the rest of the Black Sox are reinstated. There's basically everyone that was banned by Judge Kennesaw Mountain Landis, back in 1920, whatever. Basically everyone he ruled out of baseball is back in, including Pete Rose, which we'll get to in a second. But
I believe the new rule is once you're dead, you're not banned, right?
Yeah, it's interesting because the way it was worded originally and continued to be worded when Pete Rose was banned is permanent banishment.
Yes.
Permanently ineligible list or whatever. Now that has changed, and it's been kind of, people use the term lifetime ban at the same time, which didn't mean the same thing, clearly. Because Rob Manfred was able to parse that language and say, well, it's just going to be a lifetime ban. So once these people are dead, his logic is that they can no longer harm baseball, and therefore they can be reinstated into the good graces, I guess. their punishment is done after they are dead. So yeah, you mentioned the president. The timing is curious to say the least. Like why, like all of a sudden out of the blue on a Tuesday afternoon, all of a sudden Pete Rose is eligible to be in the Hall of Fame. Shoeless Joe Jackson is eligible to be in the Hall of Fame. So yeah, there was a meeting apparently last month, I believe.
Yes.
Between Manfred and Trump. Yeah, and it's wild speculation what the contents of that meeting was. I think it's quite plausible, and it's been thrown out there that Trump like has been on his social media platform randomly saying that he believes Pete Rose should be reinstated in the Hall of Fame because he, of course, he used the same boneheaded logic that I've completely dismissed multiple times in this podcast and blog, where he said he was only betting on his teams to win. And that is the most naive comment to make on the subject. It's been repeated multiple times, and it's stupid. It's bullshit because it leads to all sorts of questions. Like when he was betting on his team to win, he was the manager of the Reds. Well, if he happened to have an extra amount of money on that game that night, maybe he makes weird decisions with the bullpen or pinch hitting. Maybe burns out his bullpen just to win on some random Wednesday night and be, next game be damned. It leads to questions that we shouldn't be asking when we're watching a baseball game. The other thing is the obvious thing that few people point out, but what about the nights that he didn't bet on the Reds? Isn't that a really obvious sign that he may be making decisions to signal to his buddies or somebody he might owe money to, or other people betting on his behalf, that he could tank that game, make stupid decisions? It leads down just a horrible path, and it's unforgivable. And I don't blame Bart Giamatti, which we'll get to, for banning him from baseball for the same reasons that the Black Sox were. So Black Sox is a little bit different story. As you pointed out with Shoeless Joe, I mean, what did he bat in that World Series? He was like well over 300.
375 between the highest average between the Sox and the Reds.
Well, the way the way at least Ken Burns Baseball kind of framed that episode when they're going over that, I forget what inning that was, but it kind of made Shoeless Joe sound like he was kind of a bumpkin, didn't really understand what was happening. I think
he didn't know how to read.
Well, I don't think that means he's dumb. I think he potentially was playing both sides of it. He's taking the stupid gambler's money, but he's gonna try his ass off. He was just too good not to. So I don't think that's. I think there's been some revisionist history, and there's been more research into that as well. I think that supports that, but it's curious, and I think all those guys never had any idea that there would be a commissioner that would kick them out of baseball forever, because it was probably going on all over the place. It just didn't happen to be in the World Series that year. So most of the people on that list were from the Black Sox, the most famous of which was Shoeless Joe. So, I mean, I don't know what. Christ, he passed away 70 years ago, probably.
Yeah, 51.
Yeah, so I don't know what family members he still has, or distant relatives that can enjoy this, potentially being voted into the Hall of Fame. That vote can't even happen, I guess, until 2027. Is that?
No, I didn't hear that.
Yeah, because it's not. They can't. Anybody that reinstated can't go right on. It goes to a veterans committee. I don't think that's what it's called, but it's a 16-person panel. That they have to get 12 out of 16 to vote it, and they don't meet again until 2027. So the earliest Shoeless or Pete Rose or anybody could actually make the Hall of Fame would be after the 2027 year. So,
I mean, he's got to be elected immediately, though.
Shoeless Joe is the only issue is his career was cut so short. I think he was 32 at the time.
Yeah, he did play 13 years though.
Okay, yeah, it's probably enough. I didn't see I don't know his counting numbers, how those stack up, but just imagine if he had been able to play it out. It's just sad how, I mean, he was rivaling Ty Cobb to be the best player in baseball at that point. So
Yeah, his offensive numbers are insane.
Yeah.
Like fourth highest batting average of all time, 356, and OPS, a lifetime OPS plus of 170.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah. He's in.
Average 216 hits per season in 154 games versus 162 games.
Yeah.
Ichiro beat his record because he had 233 hits, I think it was. Or Ichiro holds the record with 262. But then in 1911, he had 233 hits. So, like, he was great.
This makes me really want to go back and watch 8 Men Out again. I haven't watched that in, 15 years maybe.
You should watch it because they do play him off as he is a bumpkin in it. There's the guy that is asking him to spell, heckling him by asking him to spell.
Yeah.
While he's playing third. And
again, those accounts, I mean, that part, those, any historical movie is based on written accounts of it. It's no one's firsthand knowledge. So there's been other research that has shown he might not be as dumb as they played him out to be. He was illiterate, but that doesn't mean you're a fool necessarily. So,
well, I was going to do the episode as you was, Joe, but then I realized I wouldn't been able to read my notes.
Okay. Jesus. Well, I think if we can transition to what I'm going to, even though he's dead, I just want to revise go ahead.
Well, I want to, you had brought up the timing, the curious timing of, so Tuesday night just happened to be, with the timing of everything, it happened to be Pete Rose night at the Reds.
Yeah, the Great American Ballpark,
on May 14th, and everyone who walked through the door got a Pete Rose jersey, and the game oversold by 1,000, so there were 1,000 standing room seats sold. So I think a little bit of the timing had to do with the fact all this celebratory stuff was going on in Cincinnati over Pete Rose.
Yeah, I mean, did the Reds have some kind of inkling that this was going to? I mean, they have to plan their promo schedule a year in advance, most likely. So I can't believe they would have known this was going to come up. But yeah, Manfred can choose to release the news anytime he wanted. So maybe he just did the Reds a favor.
Yeah,
one night's attendance. But with Pete Rose, I've written about this over the years. We've done podcasts over it. I've made him asshole of the week multiple times. I'm going to, again, just because his name is in the news and we have to talk about him again, I'm going to make him asshole of the week again.
He's dead, Smitty.
He's dead. I don't give a fuck. He's still an asshole. I never understood that. Like, if someone's an asshole, if they're dead, you're not supposed to call them an asshole anymore. Like, I never understood that. You have to speak well of the dead. Fuck
You'll
that.
Be dead.
This guy's a piece of shit. And The Athletic actually wrote an article just spelling out the timeline, all the key points of what happened with Rose throughout when he was under investigation, and then throughout the rest of his life, and how things spelled out. So I thought you and I could go over the facts. There's no ambiguity. These are just a timeline of events that actually happen, and I think you and I can make comments as we get through those events. So. You have the list over there?
Yeah. Give me 1 sec here.
Oh, sure. I was vamping for a while so you could pull that up.
I got it here.
Okay.
August 15th, 1984. That's when Rose returns to the Reds as a player manager.
Player manager? Is he the last player manager? Like, I don't remember that.
Yeah.
Happening ever again.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
What a wild thing. Can you imagine that today? Like, if there was a player, I can't even think of who it would be. A catcher, maybe, that could be a player. No, you couldn't even do that. I don't know.
Yeah.
It was fairly commonplace before that. I don't know. It just seems like such a crazy idea.
I know. February 20th, 1989, Rose summoned to the league office. On March 20th, MLB announces investigation, March 20th, 89. The next day, Sports Illustrated lays out the case.
Sports Illustrated was a reputable, non-AI generated publication at that point. So they were kind of the authority on sports. So that's a big deal when Sports Illustrated is writing articles.
Sure, whatever, Smitty. March 30th, 1989, Cincinnati Enquirer, doesn't sound that reputable, Details previous investigation. I don't know. I guess that, whatever. April 1st, 1985, Giamatti becomes commissioner. That's not Paul.
What was Giamatti? It is Bart Giamatti, who's actually the father of Paul Giamatti, the actor.
Yes.
And Bart Giamatti may actually be one of the last few commissioners that actually loved the game of baseball and wasn't just a lapdog for the owners. It wasn't just the owner's lawyer or meat shield. Yeah, there's more about Giamatti coming up. But
April 18th, 1989, Giamatti tells judge key source is cooperating. So
there's a source inside the Reds.
May 9th, so almost a month later, 1989, Dowd report submitted to Major League Baseball.
Yeah, I forget the guy's first name, but the Dowd report is much like the Mitchell report. It's named after the head of the committee, but it's a committee investigating everything that was going on with Pete Rose.
June 19th, 1989, and this is one of the many reasons that we would consider Pete Rose asshole of the week. Rose sues Giamatti and Major League Baseball because he fucked up. He's suing.
Yeah. This is why Trump's a big fan, because that's what he does anytime he gets investigated. So
I'll sue you.
Yeah. It's a classic tactic.
This one's in red because it's a big deal, I guess. August 24th, 1989, Rose agrees to lifetime ban from baseball.
Kind of a big deal.
Yes.
He sues Giamatti and Dowd, but then he agrees to the lifetime ban. And that's the key moment in all of this is that is admitting guilt. That's all it is, but he never admitted guilt, which is ridiculous.
Crazy. 8 days later, on September 1st, Giamatti dies of a heart attack. So
that's the cruelest irony of this whole story. I don't know. I mean, anybody can speculate, but I don't remember at the time. But was the stress of this situation too much for Giamatti to handle, and he fucking dies a week later? It's just unreal.
Or was he taken out?
I doubt he was taken out after Pete agrees to the lifetime ban, but I don't know.
Crazier shit has happened.
All
right. Fast forward.
Tinfoil hats.
April 20th, 1990. I mean, the Pope's a White Sox fan.
I know. How can anyone believe anything?
American. He's American.
He's from the South Side. You probably ate an Italian beef with him at one point.
Never mind. That we'll go down a rabbit hole on Italian beefs and stains on hockey jerseys.
Okay, yeah, let's not do that.
April 20th, 1990.
Baseball podcast.
Rose pleads guilty to tax fraud.
Yeah.
Good guy there. He's a real good guy.
So he pleads guilty to tax fraud. What year is this? I'm sorry, I missed that.
April 20th, 1990. So
yeah, he's having a rough couple. That's a year, 89 and 90. Yikes.
February 4th, 1991, Hall of Fame votes to keep Rose off ballot. So that's an interesting moment because the Hall of Fame actually has voted to keep Rose off the ballot. So
they're independent. They're not owned by Major League Baseball.
Right.
They can do anything they want. But the way I always understood it is that if Major League Baseball puts someone on the permanently ineligible list, then maybe the Hall of Fame just decided we will make that our decree as well. If he's on that list, they can't be in our Hall of Fame. Yeah. I'm surprised that wasn't done, after the Black Sox were banned. Hall of Fame didn't start till 1932 in the 30s, I guess. So that they had to have some rule to keep the Black Sox or to at least keep Shoeless Joe out. So
yeah, true.
I don't know.
September 26, 1997. So now we
jumped
like 6 years. And here's where the stupidity really begins. Rose applies for reinstatement. October 24th, 1999, 2 years later, Rose attends World Series pregame ceremony.
Worming his way back in.
January 27th, 2000, Rose lawyers again make case for Rose's innocence.
Okay. Even though he already pled guilty, essentially.
Yes. November 25th, 2002, Rose and Selig meet privately in Milwaukee. I remember that. January 5th, 2004. So we are 4 years after they maintained his lawyers maintained Rose's innocence. 4 years later, Rose publicly admits betting on baseball.
I mean, what are we doing?
Yeah. I mean,
my God.
At this timeline, we still got a little bit to go.
We got a ways to go. Yeah.
Yeah. So now we're gonna get in the. We're gonna go back to the future here because January 5th, 2004. We're going all the way to June 22nd, 2015. ESPN reports Rose bet on baseball as a player. Well, didn't he admit that to 2004?
Yeah, maybe there was a report that, further investigative journalism revealed more shit. I don't know. I don't
recall that, but I will say if we
were doing the blog by then, so I'm sure we talked about it, but at least I wrote about it. I don't recall. I should look that one up, but
yeah, I would give that one a no duh.
Yeah.
Thanks, ESPN.
There must be new evidence that came out is the only reason to bring that out. So
later on that year, December 14th, 2015, Manfred denies Rose's appeal for reinstatement. June 16, 2017, President Trump hires John Dowd as special counsel.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. The John Dowd, the commissioner of the Dowd Report.
July 31st, 2017, very gross. Rose accused of statutory rape. Good God.
Yeah, I can fill in the blanks a little bit there. He admitted to a sexual relationship with a girl that he assumed was 16 years old, which is he was in his mid 30s at that point. He admitted to. He didn't deny the relationship. He just said, "I thought she was 16."
Oh, I remember this now. Yeah.
There's speculation that she was 12 to 14 years old. Even if she was 16, like what a disgusting piece of shit. And he never denied it. He just, I thought she was 16. And 16 was the age of consent in Ohio back in the 70s when this was allegedly occurring. So, just so fucking gross, and that's enough to make him. I mean, he's a lifetime asshole, not just asshole of the week.
November 11th, 2022. So we're jumping 5 years now. Oh, I got a belch. Whoa, that was weird.
Yeah, it is Thirsty Thursday. So
Rose again asks Manfred for reinstatement.
No.
2 years later, September 30th, 2024, Rose dies at 83. Then
I think we specifically chose not to even mention that because we didn't want to talk about him again because
we had made an agreement.
We've already shit on him plenty.
Yeah, we made an agreement that we would not talk about Pete Rose ever again. So that's another rule that we've broken tonight.
Yeah, we're breaking all the rules tonight. Like I said, we broke the politics rule, we broke the religion rule, broke the Trump rule, breaking the Rose rule.
And I just want to say, as a baseball podcaster, we have talked about abuse of women on this podcast way too much.
Yeah, it should never have to come up.
But the fact that
Bauer and
the dick pics and it's fucking crazy. These fucking egomaniacs.
That's why they're assholes of the week. That's why we have the segment Asshole of the Week, so we can put them in their place.
January 8th of this year, petition from Rose's family.
Oh, you're muted.
No,
I can't hear you. Oh, there you are. I can hear you now.
Let me try it again. All right. January 8th of this year, petition from Rose's family. So now the family's petitioning. Now that he's dead, hey, come on. Give Pops his due. February 28th, 2025, President Trump announces plan to pardon Rose.
This is interesting too.
Is that for the tax evasion?
That's the question. Because the only thing he's ever been convicted of is the tax evasion, which he served 5 months in jail for. The president of the United States can't pardon him from gambling on baseball.
I am pardoning you from everything in the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Spirit.
The statutory rape charges were past the statute of limitations because it was so far in the past. So that was never a conviction or anything. So the only thing would be the tax evasion, but just it didn't make any sense. Like he's just pardoning because he can say shit. So
yeah.
Ugh.
April 16th, 2025, Manfred meets with Trump, discusses Rose. I'm sure
that's the conversation we mentioned earlier that maybe baseball's antitrust exemption was threatened if Manfred wouldn't agree to put Trump's best buddy Pete back in. That's the speculation, at least.
I'm also going to speculate they were talking about the upcoming labor dispute they're about to deal with. But anyway.
Yeah.
And then May 13th, 2025, the day before Pete Rose Day at the Great American Ballpark, Manfred removes Rose from permanently ineligible list. Well, that was like fucking 20 minutes of just reading a goddamn timeline.
Yeah, there's a lot happening
I'm
there.
I'm exhausted.
Yeah, I am too. But if you don't get it by now, and if you don't think he's an asshole, I don't know what the fuck to tell you. You may be happy he has a chance to go in the Hall of Fame. I think it would be hilarious if we go through all this. Manfred does his part to appease Donald, and then the committee is just like, no, we're not putting this guy in. Like, and then that's the end of it. It's like, so who knows how? I mean, we're definitely gonna have to talk about this again in 2027 because there might not even be a season going on at that point. That might be the only thing to talk about, considering the labor strife on the horizon. If it's going to be the biggest story in sports, we have to talk about it. We had to lift the embargo, but I'm only lifting the embargo on Pete Rose to call him our asshole of the week.
I did see his kid talking about him last night during the Sox game. Connor McKnight interviewed him.
Yeah.
And it was really creepy. What was weird is they look so much alike. It's freaky.
Yeah. The family, they're going to, I think they've admitted or they've talked about, our dad was seriously flawed and whatever, but he's our dad. And I totally get that. I'm not gonna fault them for that. So they're going to be his biggest proponents. And I mean, I guess I'd be happy for them that they could enjoy this. I guess there's the lifetime ban does make some sense to me. Like they paid, they did not get to enjoy the Hall of Fame, and that's the punishment. I guess going forward is the question. It's like, well, if you know you're eventually going to go in the Hall of Fame, if the rule of thumb is basically you're banned from baseball, but we're going to put you in. If you're good enough, you're going to get put in the Hall of Fame after you're dead. Maybe there's some solace in that, and your family can enjoy it. So I kind of don't like that because nobody, Pete didn't know for sure that he was ever going to get put in, and he does or he's eligible again just 6 months or so after he passes away. So I don't know. It's kind of a weird precedent. Also, I'm creeped out when presidents and politics get involved with our sports. That's why we don't talk politics on this, because it's gross, and I don't want anything to. I don't want my favorite pastime to have anything to do with politics, and it's somehow it is intertwined itself disgustingly. And we're talking about this for all the wrong reasons. That's why I love that we started this podcast and framed it around the idea that people are dicks, and we're going to call them out for it. And that's why we have asshole of the week. So there's a lot. This asshole lifetime achievement award, as he's been for the same reasons we made Pete Rose asshole of the week on multiple occasions. So congratulations, fuckhead.
Whoa! Mic drop, everybody. That was a mic drop by Smitty, and now he gets to talk about the best team in baseball.
Oh my God, we are 50 minutes into this podcast, and we haven't even mentioned briefly the best team in baseball, my Detroit Tigers. 29-15. They're one game better than the New York Mets. They're actually, I think, 2 games up on the Dodgers even, which is crazy to think about. Just unreal. They're just doing everything right. They look. I've talked about this every week pretty much so far, that how this is justifying or validating that end of the last season, those 2 months that were so improbable. It's showing that shit was real. This week, they completed a sweep against the Boston Red Sox, who kind of are a bit of a pariah in Detroit in that they won the Alex Bregman sweepstakes in a very kind of a slam dunk fashion, as they offered less money, but more annual average value to Alex Bregman. So he was lustily booed throughout the series in Detroit this week. It's kind of funny, but he had a good series regardless, a few home runs and stuff. But alas, his Red Sox were swept out of Detroit. So there's some justice there. It felt good. I'm sure Tigers fans in attendance felt great about that. There's a famous quote by AJ Hinch at one point. He's like, "Well, we want people that want to be here. If you don't want to be here, that's fine. We'll beat you." And that was last year, so it couldn't have come more true and more appropriately for Alex Bregman this week. So that was great. The other great parts of that series specifically was not one but two walk-off wins. The final two games of the 3-game series were both walk-offs. Last night with Justin Henry Malloy with a key single off Aroldis Chapman. But the night previous was one of the most epic walk-offs, one of the most epic nights I can remember in recent Tiger history. And I couldn't be happier for Javy Báez. And I brought it up. I actually just did a segment probably 2 shows ago, how Javy had been a key contributor to the Tigers' success so far this season. And it hadn't been talked about a whole lot. And he hadn't had like a signature moment or anything, a standard Javy moment that Cubs fans have been privy to from his time there. But Javy had his moment, and boy did he have his moment on Tuesday night. He not only early in the game had a really smart base running play, which actually he almost got picked off third base, back pick by the catcher. But when he kind of knew he was going to get picked off, he actually ran straight to third baseman Alex Bregman's glove, which got his body right in the path of the throw from the catcher, which bounced off him, and he went into the outfield and he scored the run. I think it was the first run of the game, first or second run of the game. So yeah, that kind of reminded me of the old Javy, which we haven't seen in years. Just a magician on the base pass, but he did have a 3-run home run after that, which is great to see the power coming back. He is laying off that slider that has been his kryptonite his entire career. I remember, almost 10 years ago, Joe Madden commented, like, if Javy could just lay off the slider, he's Manny Ramirez. Like, he's that talented a hitter. It's just this one fatal flaw is crushing him. And when he lays off of it, he is great. And that's what he's doing this year. He's identifying the slider, which it felt like he almost had a vision problem or something last year. He just could not see spin, and just, ball's coming straight at it, it dives off the plate, and he just is not prepared for it. So that's no longer the case. He's actually drawing a few walks. So it's just crazy. And I've talked about it over the years. Like, I feel like Tigers fans just never saw the real Javy. It's been 3 years. This is his 4th year as a Tiger, and he's been awful. Not just mediocre. He's been one of the worst hitters in baseball. And now people are starting to see it in Detroit, and he's definitely having his moment. It's so cool to see, because I hoped it was still in there. I had hoped that Tigers fans would see that. He is finally putting it together, and he really put it together in extra innings with his second 3-run homer, a walk-off homer in the bottom of the 11th to win the game. I don't know if I know you've seen some Tigers clips this week because they're all over the place, but I don't know if you've seen that clip where the catcher immediately rips off his mask, throws it down, and looks so disgusted. Javy, meanwhile, is standing in the background just with his arms raised, just admiring his own handiwork. The pitcher looks like he's taking a shit on the mound because he knows it's out immediately. Crowd's just going fucking nuts. He's transitioned. I kind of brought this up maybe last year. Like, he was never called Javy Báez in Detroit until recently. He was Javier Báez, and I almost feel like that's a different person almost. Like, there's something to Javy Báez versus Javier. Well, now he is Javy Báez, as you could hear in the post game show, which is done on the concourse at Comerica Park. 10, 15 minutes after the game, you could still hear fans just chanting Javy, Javy during the post-game show.
Can I ask you, can I interrupt you for 1 second?
Yeah, go ahead.
How long have they been doing the post-game show on the concourse?
It's been there for quite a while. I just saw it when I was there 2 weeks ago. The set's like right there on I think it's the first base side.
But they've been doing it for like a few years or something like that?
It's been there for a while. Yeah, I remember it.
Okay.
I didn't start going back to Comerica Park until 2022. And I think I remember it then. So I don't know when it started, but it's super cool. It's like like you could walk right next to it at any point. So it's a good setup.
The Sox, when they're home, Ozzy and Chuck are at the ballpark doing a pre and post game show, but it's like in the 300 level or something.
Oh, yeah. This is 100. Yeah, this is right behind the lower bowl. This is like kind of where like other sections would be like reserved handicap seating. It's like one of those areas right behind the stands.
Super cool. That's super cool.
It's really cool. So I walked by it 2 weeks ago. Just I was there way too early, so they weren't doing the pregame show yet there. But it kind of sucks though when it's chilly because they're sitting there just freezing their asses off. And that's a wind tunnel at that point, right? Because it's right by the entry gate, so the wind blows straight through there. But so yeah, Javy is now Javy in Detroit. I feel so good because I swear I've been the only Tigers fan in my unique position living in Chicago for all those years and being a Cubs fan as well. I saw what Javy could be, and no one in Detroit, unless they were watching a lot of Cubs games, really knew what Javy could be. So it's happening now. I feel so good for him. He's been such a good teammate. Like he hasn't, contrary to what fans are saying that he should be cut from the team and he's a clubhouse cancer. Like that's just not the case. If that were the case, they would have benched him long ago. They would have found a way to get him out of there. The idea that fans wanted to get rid of him just coming into the season, they were still so anti-Javy. He has 3 years left and $70 million on his contract. The Tigers were never going to just tell him to go away and just pay him. They had to find a way to help him contribute and have him help contribute. I think the key of this is he had hip surgery in the offseason, and that may have been the issue all along, where he just has not been healthy. And coming into the spring training, he says he felt better than has in years. So that may have been something that should have been taken care of long ago. That could be the explanation of why he looks like a real hitter. He's got a 309 average, 5 home runs, 27 RBI, 842 OPS, which he was in the 500s last year. And he's 137 OPS plus. So that is contributions on the offensive side. He's got a 1.9 WAR, which speaks a lot to his defense as well, which he has gladly moved into center field, which I've never. He always played shortstop. I think he played second base a little bit with the Mets, but with all the injuries to the Tigers outfield, they had a hole in center field. AJ Hinch is like, "Do you want to play center field?" Fuck yeah, he does. He looks as good as any center fielder in the game right now. He is not a defensive liability. In fact, there are now reports. I listen to a lot of Chicago sports talk radio who are now commenting on how well Javy's doing in Detroit. Mark Grody from The Score actually interviewed him back in 2017, maybe, and asked him what his favorite position was. And he told him right then it was center field. But they actually asked Joe Madden about that at the time. He's like, well, an athlete that good, he's got to be in the dirt. You can contribute much more, at least for that team at that time, as shortstop. So that was understandable. But I guess Javy's always wanted to play center field. And now we're seeing why. He is amongst the best in center field and just looks natural at it, even though he's only played it 21 games now in his major league career. So it's just a remarkable renaissance. He's gotten such a bad rap because he's been so shitty and people shit all over him, make him out to be a bad guy. And he's not. He never was a bad guy, never a bad teammate. He just sucked at baseball for a while, inexplicably. So it's great to see that coming together for him and him having his moment. Now everyone can see what El Mago really is.
Oh, I'm so excited for everybody. I really am.
F you.
So what do they do? They like give him a couple days off a week or something like that? Like with all the talent you have on the team? I know he doesn't play every single game, but
he's pretty much in the lineup every day now.
Okay.
Because they have no good options at center field with Parker Meadows hurt. Matt Vierling is coming back, but most likely he's going to be playing third base. So this is kind of a crazy. Wenzel Perez is their third string center fielder. He got hurt at the beginning of the season as well. So they're their fourth string desperation center fielder, and that's Javy Báez, and it's working out fucking great. It's interesting because Parker Meadows will be coming back at the end of this month. Hopefully, he was placed on the 60-day IL to start the season, so he's eligible to come back at the end of the month. He's gonna have to work his ass off to supplant Javy Báez. Parker Meadows is a better center fielder. I argue he's going to be the best center fielder in the American League, if not the entire league. But they don't have to rush him because Javy's holding it down. So they can take their time with him in the minors, like getting a swing back. He did have a shoulder issue, is what's a weird like nerve issue in his shoulder that's put him out this long. So it might take him a while to reacclimate and get a swing back. So that's if Javy keeps playing like this, that's fine. To give Meadows all the time he needs, and then figure out a place to put Javy. He might even end up at third base just because it's been such a problem for the Tigers so far this year. As they just sent down Jace Young to the minors yesterday, I think. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting thing. These are first world problems, I guess you'd call them. We'll figure out how to make that work.
I would say so. I'm really nervous for you guys.
So yeah, good times in the Motor City. I think with that, well, I do want to mention your fantasy team, your ace of your staff, I'm assuming, Tarek Skubal. He did in his last 7 games, he's got 61 strikeouts to 2 walks.
That's pretty good.
It's kind of a good ratio. I guess that would be a 31-1 ratio, essentially. That's unheard of. He was a little bit shaky last night, actually, but he walked his first batter since April 20th last night. But fortunately, his offense bailed him out, and they won in walk-off fashion again. So, yeah, again, good times in Detroit.
I mean, I have Hunter Brown also. I mean, that's an argument on...
Is his ERA under 2 for the last month?
Well, his ERA is 1.48 for the season with a .90 whip.
What's Tarek's?
2.67 ERA.
Oh, wow.
0.93 whip. So
okay, so not your ace, boy.
Man,
your rotation over there, my goodness.
Well, yeah. Then I've got JP Sears at 2.8 ERA.
Too bad it's only good for what? Are you in
29 points right now because my offense is completely in shambles because they're all injured.
I continue to cruise in first place as I have for many weeks now. So,
and as we know, Smitty has won. He's probably going to win the month of May again. So
that is and thus ends our fantasy minute.
Speaking of fantasies, why don't we move over to Fantasyland, the north side of Chicago?
Oh, the fantasy, okay. Yes, congratulations to your Giants who took a series in Chicago from the Cubs. To which you were magnanimous and very classy about via text the rest of the week. But
I was. You had made a comment on this very podcast that one of the last matchups we weren't really texting a lot. I'm not sure why. So I thought I'd amp up the shit talking on text to try to get the old flavor going. But apparently, Pouty Puss over there wasn't into it.
If you're just doing that to me, what's the point? If you put it on social media, it might be entertaining the folks. Other than that, you're just antagonizing me for no good reason, acting like a fucking child.
For a very good reason.
Well, okay. I might just have to block you again whenever they play because I know you're going to act like a fucking child. So, congratulations on your series victory.
That's right.
Cubs actually got through their toughest schedule of all time. I mean, a ridiculous gauntlet they got through in the first 1.5 months. Now they have the easiest schedule going forward. When you say easiest schedule, it's all teams under 500. They've got the Marlins this week, which they lost a game to, which is unacceptable, especially when you're White Sox. Did you swept them? Is that what you said?
No, we lost 1 game too.
Okay, so we're equal to the White Sox. We play said White Sox this weekend, which is going to be interesting. We'll see how many Popes show up, and if they're Cubs affiliated or Sox affiliated, if there's a battle over the Popes. You have to beat these teams. They play the Marlins again next week. So it's like, these need to be sweeps, considering the fucking Cardinals are winning 8-10 games in a row out of nowhere with their fucking voodoo magic. This is the time where the Cubs need to be just mopping up the competition. They went through the gauntlet. Now let's take care of shit here. They have been dealing with some injuries. Of course, we talked about last week. I was demanding the arrival of Cade Horton after injury to Shota Imanaga, and apparently Jed Hoyer did cave to the pressure I was putting on him, and they did call him up. He did not start his game in New York against the Mets. They had an opener, which I thought was kind of complicating things. Like, Horton's been a starter his whole time and is used to the routine of starting. So I thought it was odd that they were choosing to bring him in the second or third inning, whatever it was going to be, based on what the opener did. Ended up working out okay. And the theory behind it is, at least the general theory behind the opener is, you have a guy, basically your closer in a way, face the top of the order and get through those guys once. And then you bring in a long guy who's going to hopefully get 4 or 5 innings, and he only has to face that top of the order, the best hitters, twice. Doesn't have to face them a third time. So that, I guess, was their theory for like a soft landing spot for Horton.
I'm aware. I haven't talked about it. I didn't know the Cubs did it. The Sox have been doing it all season.
Yeah, and it makes a lot of sense in certain cases. So that's another tip of the cap to Will Venable, who understands basic or modern baseball tactics, which has not been crazy. Not been a strong suit of the White Sox managers over the last 20 years, whatever it is. So it didn't work out perfectly, of course, for Horton. He gave up a 3-run homer, but other than that, he was solid. He had 5 strikeouts, 0 walks, which had been an issue for him early in his minor league career. So he's got command. I guess the highlight of it is he did strike out Juan Soto in a key situation on the first changeup he ever threw in his major league career. He trusted his changeup, which he had not thrown all night. The first time he throws it is Juan Soto, and it fucking strikes him out. So that was a key moment. So I think Horton starts tomorrow against your White Sox. Actually, I don't think he's going to have an opener. So we'll see what that does, or what that means for his fate. So other injuries with the Cubs is Ian Happ, who's out with a oblique, which is, I bring it up every time, shoulders and obliques and hamstrings are weird, nebulous injuries. You have no idea how long it's going to take to come back from. You don't know when the player's going to feel confident that they can't re-injure themselves. So it sucks because Happ was having another great start. They brought up Moisés Ballesteros, which his nickname is Mo Baller, which I think is fantastic. He is an interesting looking person. If you've ever seen Alejandro Kirk from the catcher for the Toronto Blue Jays, kind of looks like a fire hydrant. Well, this is like a smaller version of Kirk. He's listed as 5'8", but I've seen him list. Basically, everyone says he's 5'7", which makes him about the size of Jose Altuve, except he's 215 pounds. So all he does is hit. He's only 21 years old and getting the call up because he hits the fucking ball. Although he is not in his 6 at-bats so far in the major leagues over the last 2 nights. But he cannot play defense. He could be a catcher, but I don't think they're ever going to use him. I think his tools are minus ratings. I just don't think the Cubs are going to bother with that. He could play first base, but when's the last time you ever saw a 5'7" first baseman? Seems like not the best idea. Usually you like to have a large target over there as they get a lot of work. So he's basically gonna play DH while he's here. So we'll see how that goes. It sucks that he's off to an 0 for 6 start, I think. So, I forget how many at bats he's had so far, but he has a 0.0 OPS. Unfortunate. What else did I have for the Cubs?
That was it.
Okay.
On the list.
Well, we do have Cubs Sox this weekend, so We'll see if I have to block you via text. Although I don't know how lippy you'll be with your White Sox. Or
well, I mean, I'm looking at the. Want to go over the matchups, the pitching matchups. Yeah. So we can kind of determine what we think.
Shane Smith
happen.
is tomorrow.
Shane Smith against Horton.
You got an advantage there. We got
an advantage there. So if I'm I would say I think the White Sox have a very good chance of winning tomorrow afternoon.
Don't let the Sox get hot.
Then I would say Saturday it's Burke against Boyd.
Sean Burke, former goalie of the New Jersey Devils.
That's right. He's pitching for the Sox now. I would give the advantage to the Cubs in that one.
Okay.
So now we're a series tied. And I think really the best pure pitching matchup is you got Jonathan Cannon, who just fucking dominated the fucking Reds the other night against Rhea. So
Colin Rhea has been. I didn't know who he was before the season. He's been really fucking good for the Cubs. So that's what's part of what's kept them more than afloat so far this season. So yeah, that's an interesting matchup. Cannon, I remember being really impressed with, and then he'll get just bombed. Like he feels like he's really inconsistent, but when he's on, he's on. But that's just anecdotal evidence that I've noticed from afar. I don't know what he's been doing this season, but
much better this season. So.
Okay. Well, yeah, I mean, they're all young, so it makes sense when they could get consistent the deeper they go.
So I think I would call Sunday a toss-up. I would say we're going to go in with the rubber match is my prediction, and we'll see what happens.
Do we know if the wind will be blowing out this weekend at Wrigley? Because that's going to determine everything, essentially.
Well, let's see. I'm looking at the wind. If they were playing tonight, they might be under... They might just have canceled the game out of fear of the proposed rain that's supposed to be coming. Yeah, but it looks like
I think it's cooling. Isn't it cooling down? That front comes through and it's cooler like all week after that. At least it is here. Is it the same in Chicago?
No, it's going to be like 87 here tomorrow, but then Saturday,
that's when it's
going to be like 62.
Okay,
but it looks like now, in of course overreaction by weathermen. It actually looks like this is going to completely miss us.
Okay.
I was all paranoid about the podcast. Remember the time we did the one with the tornado sirens?
Yeah, that was crazy.
I was all fearful. We were going to get up here and about like this point, it was going to be like, I got a gate cover, Smitty. It's all over.
You're up in a weird, like a perch area, and you're in the loft there. So I fear for your safety at times. So yeah, if you ever feel like your life is in danger, please do not put the podcast above your own life. So we appreciate your efforts, but
yeah, it'll be interesting. The wind will be very interesting because speaking of like the Sox game I was at on Saturday, it was 75. Went to Costco in the morning in shorts and a t-shirt.
Yeah, you were all bundled up in the pictures I saw with you and the Pope.
45 minutes later, as I walked out of Costco, I could have been in jeans and a jacket.
And you have a jean jacket?
No, jeans and a jacket.
I'm trying to imagine you in a jean jacket.
That'd probably be pretty fucking tough. I'd have all my metal patches all over it, probably, my Slayer, Metallica.
Cliff Burton style.
Maybe Badlands patch. I listened to a little Badlands today. Jakey Lee's band.
Shocking.
Yeah, I know.
All right. I think we've gone on long enough tonight, unless you have more.
I just got one thing I forgot about is Pete at the park. It was really cold. We forgot our koozies. So we got these White Sox koozies when we were there.
Oh, fancy.
What a bargain. Only $8 each.
Oh my God.
But I want to give a special shout out to the beer ladies. And I believe it was section 121. I was taking my beer I had finished out of the koozie, and she's like, "Hey, let me see that." I'm like, "Okay." They will take your koozies and koozie up your beer for you before they crack it open for you. Now that is fucking service.
Seems unnecessary, but it's a nice gesture, I guess.
Yes.
Yeah, I was impressed. I saw you posted pictures of your beer and koozies, and it never occurred to me to have a koozie at a ball game, but I guess you could always bring your own. But that's a good idea if you're drinking out of a can. I always highly recommend the koozie. Keeps your beer insulated and your hand warm and not too cold on a cold night. So always a good move.
Yeah, it was a saving grace. We were standing in the outfield at that point because there was sun, and we
Good idea.
Hoard up as much heat as possible before moving to the first base side, which is, even when it's sunny and warm, is in the shade. So, all right, that's all I got.
All right. Well, I think with that, we can wrap up this episode 166 of Major League A-Holes, where we broke all the fucking rules. Hopefully we never have another podcast where we talk religion, politics, and Pete Rose. Or the Hall of Fame for that matter.
And statutory rape.
Oh yeah, definitely don't want to talk about that ever again. So yeah, you can find us on social media at Major League A-Holes, and you're over there on X at Socks Type Thing. You can find us on the web at majorleagueaholes.com. You can find us on YouTube at Major League A-Holes. Check out our burgeoning YouTube page. All these segments are broken down into digestible 5, 10, 15, 20-minute segments. And you can find this podcast anywhere you'd like to find a podcast. So with that, I'm going to declare this podcast is over. Peace.
Peace.
Word Hole Media.